my name is Rebecca, never Becky, and today I'm talking about all the terrible ways I used to put on my makeup. Yes guys, I was horrible before I got to this, and I will insert some pictures. Unfortunately, why did I do this to myself? I want to show you guys how I evolved, how I was able to learn how to put on my matte colors, my shimmers, my contour, my concealer. How did I bake? How did I learn all of these things? I want to show you guys today on my channel how I learned how to contour, sculpt my face, what you see now. Let's get into this. Okay guys, so today I want to show you guys what I used to do versus what I do now. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually get started with my Maybelline because I used to use Maybelline all the time. I mean, clearly I still do. I actually have this bottle and another bottle right here. So I used to use Maybelline a lot. I've already prepped my face for the foundation, guys, and I've done my brows to save some time. I'm gonna go ahead and start in with my foundation. I'm gonna apply it to my hands because, you know, Maybelline didn't have a pump for this one. Go ahead and distribute out the foundation on my face, guys. I used to just put makeup on my face, guys. Half the time I wasn't even priming my face for it. I would just put it on my face and go. So I just want to show you guys what I did and how I've grown from the look that I'm creating now that you guys can see versus what I'm doing now. The techniques that I'm doing are so different. I wanted to show you guys how I progressed, how I've gotten better since I've shown you guys really quickly that I used to do that I recommend no one ever do. I'm actually gonna be a little more detailed this time, but it wasn't any better. I'm gonna use my angled brush and I'm gonna go in with my bronzer, and I'm going to go ahead and bronze my nose the way that I used to bronze my nose, thinking that this is what everyone was doing. You know, I didn't get the cream situation because I just felt like I couldn't master cream, so I used to just stay with powder, and I never wanted to like not have powder to contour my face, and I just thought I was doing amazing, guys. But this is what your girl was looking like in the streets, so I'm gonna show you guys so you guys can have a real understanding the struggle I was going through. I'm gonna just blend this out real quick, but this is pretty much what I would do. So you guys are getting a good, nice version of the old way I used to do my makeup. Right about here, I would feel really good. And so I would take Sasha. So I'm gonna go with Sasha just for the sake. This was not every day, but I did used to use, as you guys can see, I still have the Sasha Buttercup setting powder I use still. I wasn't really doing it. This is what I used to do with my setting powder. So this is a do not do, guys. Do not do this with your setting powder. This is not doing anything. When you do this, this isn't doing anything for anyone, guys. Do not do this method of just seeing your T-zones, guys, and just throwing powder on your face. This isn't doing anything, and the reason why it isn't doing anything is because you didn't properly set your face, and you didn't, I personally didn't use concealer before I used to put my powder on. I used to just throw the powder on my face. I don't need concealer. This will work, right? And then I will go ahead with my brush, and I would let it sit on for a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and quickly take this off for you guys, because honestly, when I had days that I had to like rush, this is all she did. This is all she wrote. Okay, this is what you guys were getting out of me before, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't putting in work, guys. Like, I felt so proud of my face. And then what I would do with my eyeshadows, guys, was no better. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is show you guys exactly what I used to do on my eye. Oh, let me start with my birthday palette, guys. I'm not gonna mention the palettes because honestly they're not relevant. It's just more so showing you guys the technique of what I used to do. So right about here, I would take, you know, a nice amount of, you know, actually I wouldn't even use a matte color. I don't even know why I'm lying. I never used a matte color until I got you know, really familiar what matte colors do. But just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna use matte, and then I'm gonna go in hard with my shimmers like I really would have done in the past. So let me show you. Now that I got that on, what I used to do with my old faithful brush that I love oh so much, guys. You guys know how I feel about this wonderful brush, and I always talk about this brush and how much I love it because it's just been through everything with me. And I'm gonna go on with this handy dandy brush, guys, and I'm gonna use Juvia's Place. I'm gonna go ahead with this gold because I was really obsessed with neutral, like, gold colors. So I'm gonna use this gold color, and what I would do is pack it onto this brush like I was a maniac and I had no home training. And I'm gonna go ahead and spray it because if it wasn't damp, I didn't like it. And I would, from here, guys, this is what I used to do. I know this is insane watching me do this, but it's sending me now that I know what I do. Like, now that I'm aware of how to apply my makeup, it really sends me when I see this now. This sends me into a rage because I was definitely this girl. Like, faux show, I was this girl. So I'm just gonna show you guys what I used to do. Again, I'm gonna wet it, pack it onto the eye. Okay guys, so now that you guys can see what I used to do, clearly in a time that I needed some help, I'm gonna show you guys how you go from this makeup. I've already done my brows again, and I've also done my foundation. That's the only thing, so I'm gonna show you guys step by step what I do. So let's get into it. Thinking like, why do we need concealer? What is the purpose of concealer? Is it only to brighten? No, concealer doesn't only brighten your face, it does hold your foundation a lot longer. So this is why I do it underneath my eyes. Also because I have sunken in eyes, so when I get tired, or, you know, if I'm just basically tired or I've had a long day, my eyes begin to sink in and they have very dark under circles, so I don't like that. So I put on concealer twice. I put it on before my foundation, and then I put it on again after my foundation. And I'm just gonna take a beauty blender and I'm just gonna blend out this foundation because I don't want any harsh creases, lines. So just make sure that you're blending out your concealer once you have done. I'm gonna go ahead and take my Juvia's Place, and I'm going to align her right on the cheeks of where I want my shadowing to be. So that's gonna be also the bridge of my nose. I won't do this on the bridge of my nose, but I'm just showing you guys I would do it on the bridge of my nose as well as here. I'm gonna take it on the forehead as well. I'm gonna take it under the jaw. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is take a more defined brush. This is a Morphe brush. It's an E47, guys. You can see, and I like it because before, as you guys could probably see in a lot of my other videos, I would take the stick and I would run it down the face of my, or run it down my face as I did before. But this time when it comes to my nose, I don't want too much bronzing, too much contour. I wanna have control, so I'm gonna take a little bit here on my brush, as you guys can see. And then I'm going to go underneath my brow, down my bone. So ultimately, I'm going to trace my bone structure, which we all have. And I think it's important that you know, like, if you're going to start contouring your face, try to start underneath your eyebrow before you start anywhere else. And the reason is because when you're blending out, you don't want any crazy lines that's noticeable. I have done it so many times, guys. I'm guilty. I'm not perfect at it, but I am getting better. and not doing that. So that's what this is gonna look like. I'm gonna, again, just go a little bit underneath the eye. And closer you guys can see, I started underneath the brow. I traced it all the way down the bridge of my nose, and that's all that I'm doing. I'm taking this darker shade, which is my contour shade, and I'm running it down the bridge of my nose. So ultimately, this is what you guys should look like. If you guys need to pause, take a second, do that. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is start blending, guys. This is a very important step. I am also using another Morphe brush. It's an S26. I like it because it has a nice little angle, and I can really get in the grooves of my eye, or at least in this area. I don't know what to call it, guys. I'm not like a bonologist, but I'm just saying, like, I just like to start underneath my brow. So in this area here, I'm gonna just start blending it out. So that's what I'm gonna do and start. And again, I'm gonna start right here. I'm not starting here, I'm starting right in the bridge of my nose. And I'm just gonna blend it out. So that's all we're doing, is we're carefully blending out. I'm gonna go ahead and jump onto my other, I don't know what this, unfortunately, what the name of this or the number of this brush is, but I like it because it's flat. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is then blend out this darker shade with it. And I promise you guys, if you have the right type of brushes, this is effortlessly. Like, you guys are not gonna be doing too much. You're gonna see what you're doing, and this is what it's gonna look like when your brushes are on point, you guys. I promise. You can already see like a total difference in what I used to do versus what I'm doing now that I know better. And I feel like because I just seen a lot of people at the time just throw on foundation and they didn't do anything else after that, I felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing, not knowing that there is a whole process to this that I never really paid attention to. So now that I'm really loving and beginning to have love for makeup, I just think that it's really nice when you know what you're doing versus just going in blindly trying to figure it out, or buying things, because I'm guilty of that, guys, buying things that I didn't know what was what, why I needed it, but I used it, sure, I did it, you know, and that not necessarily how I should have been doing it. I'm gonna go back in with some concealer, guys, because as you guys can see on the bridge of my nose is very thin. I don't like that. I like for people to see my wonderful nose, and it's not paper thin. I don't like to contour my nose paper thin. I don't like to do too much manipulation, but of course I like to manipulate. You know, it's always fun to see what you can do to yourself. I think it's so interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this concealer. Now this is gonna become a tree on my face, you guys. So I'm gonna show you guys, just to give you guys just a little more techniques to take with you guys. So what I'm doing right now is taking concealer and I'm going just ever so slightly over the brow. Now what I'm doing is creating, I will say, a growing tree. So you guys are gonna see this tree in a second that I'm creating. And the reason why I'm creating it is because it's a really cool way to clean your brow up and get a little highlight in the forehead area. So when you're like taking pictures and you want that like little glow, looks not so, I guess, sweaty, but that dewy look, I like to do this because I feel like when I start to sweat, it gives me more of a dewy look than it does a just sweat. Just I'm sweating and I can't control it. I want to look like it's more controlled than it seems. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and just take my time growing this little tree on my forehead. I know that sounds crazy, but that's ultimately what this looks like. So let me go ahead and show you guys my tree. As you guys can see, this is my tree. And this is kind of like how I start to mold my face now. Go ahead and move on to the next step, guys, which we're gonna start baking with our setting powder because that's what it's used for. So baking, guys, just in case you don't know what it is, I'm gonna use this right here, my Angled Beauty blender. I got this one from Morphe, guys. I like it because of how it's pointed and how it's cut off. It can get really right in the grooves of my face. without me trying to pinch too hard or trying to make things smaller. It gets right in the crevices of my face where I need to put my setting powder. So back to setting powder, guys. So setting powder, I'm using I'm using Fenty from Rihanna. So with setting powder, guys, what this is doing is really holding your makeup in place. It's keeping you from sweating. So we're wanting to use this for multiple reasons. We're also brightening up the face a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but I know my face at least have light and dark areas. So I don't feel like brightening is manipulating your skin complexion. I feel like brightening is just that, giving your face depth. I feel like it doesn't just sit on your face and do nothing. It helps your face out. Some people do go a little bit harder, and I think some people also like to have their powders a little bit lighter than most people. Powder and the shade that you choose is totally up to you. It doesn't do one thing or another different because you got a shade different. Now, of course, if you get a really bright shade, you're gonna have some brightness happening. But if you are not even using your setting powder appropriately, I find it very pointless to be buying so much makeup when you guys don't know what you're doing. You're just buying just to say you have it. I find that very disheartening because it's just sitting there. It's just sitting there, guys. You don't know what to do with it. You're not quite sure. And that's fine, but what I want to start teaching you guys is not to just buy things for the sake of buying it because you think it's cool. Know what you're buying, you know, because I feel like once you find that you know why you're buying what you're buying, it's going to be a lot easier. You're going to not have to spend so much money because you truly understand. I'm sweating, guys, so I'm going to go under my stash here, my mustache area. I'm going ahead and stop me from sweating. I'm in San Diego, guys, so it's really hot. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and just make my lines perfect at this point. And this is totally optional. You guys do not have to do all of this. But if you want your face to look very sharp and clean, it doesn't look like you don't know where to put your powder and you're just throwing powder. This is why I look crazy, guys. Like, this is all to make sure this part doesn't get shiny, this area doesn't get shiny, my T-zone. So I basically bake where my T-zones are at because it keeps me from sweating out, you know, the concealer and honestly all my hard work as well. And of course it's brightening up underneath the eye, and I feel like for me it's important that I'm brightening up underneath my eye because I get such dark circles, and if I just rely on concealer to do the work, honestly it won't stay in place. It will move around on my face, and that's not my goal. So I want to make sure that I'm setting the concealer, I'm setting everything so it doesn't move. The longer you do have it on, a little more likely you are to have it on, have your makeup on longer than normal, but I don't find it to be a big difference if I, you know, apply it and then wipe it off. If you guys are wondering why you are buying bronzers or any shades darker than your actual skin colors, because you want to then bring depth into your face. And when I mean depth, I mean that you need to bring the darkness, the natural darkness that comes into your face back. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using Fenty Coconati. I love Coconati. It's very natural looking. It's not too hard. I don't like Coco. I think it's Mama Coco, or I'm sorry, basically the darker shade from Fenty. I don't really care for it. I feel like it's too much on the red side. I wind up giving mine away, guys. I brought two and I just didn't like it. I felt honestly like I had brought from the Queen collection from CoverGirl. It was really the same color payoff. It was no different. I didn't feel the need to keep it. So right now I'm bronzing the perimeter of my face. So what you're seeing me do, I know my hand technique is like, what is she going? It's a little everywhere, but for me, I don't really care about this to be too perfect about it, I guess, because I'm going to take a bigger brush and blend it out, make it look more seamless. So I'm just trying to get it onto the face and right over where I had already added my concealer, I'm sorry, my contour. I don't know why I want to call my contour concealer so bad. I don't know why. I don't know why. we're gonna go ahead. So I'm gonna go ahead now and take the most cleanest brush you guys you own or that you don't quite use that's a little fluffy. So I would like to use this one as an example. This is Morphe. This is a Morphe brush M40. I hate saying this number because I feel like it's everything to say. So it's M457. That's the brush. And I'm gonna just take it because it's a loose, as you guys can see, it's very loose. It's not a tight brush. It gets the job done very quickly, and I don't feel like it's smudging into other areas I don't want, and I want to be very light-handed when I'm doing this. So guys, be very light-handed when you decide to take off that powder. You don't want to go too hard and causes streaks in your face, so we're going to just gently brush that off. Just ever so gently, right? So now to the eyes, guys. And I know some of you guys are thinking, how is she gonna start her eyes? She already put on her makeup. Well, luckily, honestly, guys, I have just been good enough to just kind of do my makeup even when my face is done, because I feel like my face is gonna take the longest more than my eyeshadow. And I mean, I could easily do my eyeshadow first, but I don't like to, so I don't. Because I don't have to. My eyes with my birthday palette from NYX. I'm gonna go ahead and just start with a matte color. Now, the guys saw earlier, I never used mattes. So what got me back into using mattes was when I had to get more grown-up jobs, I should say. And I didn't want to go and film, like, one, I was at the club, and two, like, I didn't care. So I started leaning on mattes solely. And what I did learn back then was I didn't like all mattes, because mattes do, depending on where you get your palettes from, they can come up very chalky, and I don't like that. Or they'll come up, the pigment won't come up good. There would just be issues, you know. So to eliminate that, guys, I will definitely say if your money is funny, then you guys need to lean on Juvia's Place and Morphe. Those are the two places I leaned on when I first really started getting into makeup, because they were affordable and the color payoff was amazing. I used to buy any palette from anywhere. Honestly, I never had a preference. I didn't care. I just wanted it on my face. But as I gotten more experience with makeup, guys, I can truly say, when you're thinking about buying palettes, think about your brushes as too. Think about your brushes as far as, like, if you're gonna buy, let's just say, a $50 palette, right? Why would you take a $1 brush and try to apply it? Like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. You're gonna put in way more work trying to use the brush that's cheaper versus just trying to make sure that you have everything that you need and that your brushes won't sink in all your product. Because I know a lot of people's like, well, my brushes are costing this much, and I'm fine with it. What we don't realize is happening is that when we have inexpensive brushes, a lot of your product is left in your brushes. Whether it's a foundation brush, a concealer brush, it really doesn't matter where your brushes are from. If they're not quality brushes, 9 out of 10, you are basically eating up your products with your brushes versus putting it on your face. So you're losing a lot more product. You know, if you can still get the job done and you're happy about it, kudos to you. Not for me though. I want to see what I'm doing, and I want to be aware that, you know, if I'm using bad brushes, the cause and effect is that I'm gonna run out a lot of product, and I'm gonna have a lot of dirty brushes a lot faster than I typically would. So just a little FYI there, guys. Major progression steps with how I apply my makeup. I start very slowly now. I don't rush to put it all on at once, thinking I can get in and out the door. That's not real. It will never happen for any woman. I don't care how much or how less makeup you put on. So we are always gonna be struggling. So why not take those 2 extra steps to make sure that your makeup is right? I'm gonna go ahead and move on to a more shimmer color. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna spray, and I've decided to take this up to like a reddish copper color on the eye, and I'm now going to pat this color into my eye, and it will be literally 10 times different than what I was doing before. It's just a lot less steps. I don't get fallout, guys. I really don't get fallout. This is why I do my foundation and setting powder all before I do my eye, because I really don't get fallout with Juvia's Place, like, at all. Never been my issue. ahead and do is now blend out again. You know, again, when you're dealing with shimmers, you never just want to give up where you're at, because it's just the streaks are so real. You know, you can tell where your brush stopped and started, okay? So we always want to make sure we're blending in our matte color along with the shimmer color. And don't be afraid if you see that color getting blended in together and you're like, well, the matte now doesn't look so matte. We can always go back in and apply. So I'm going to do the same thing to this eye. This one doesn't need it as much. I kind of like how I laid it. I'm never like consistent in how I do one eye and the other. It just never works out in my favor that way. Kudos to every makeup artist that can. I can't. So you can see how I line my lips, which is the correct way. Lining your lips inwards is not your full lip. Technically, your full lip is literally where your arch is at. So now I line there. I'm gonna go in with my Juvia's Place lipstick, guys. I'm gonna just take this. I got the peach collection, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take this color and only apply it in the middle of my lip where there is no liner first. Can't believe I used to do my makeup like that, and I kid you not, exactly like that. That's how I used to do my makeup, and I honestly give a lot of credit to YouTube, because if it wasn't for YouTube, your girl would still be doing her makeup like that. And if you guys stick with your girl, I'll guide you guys through a couple of mistakes that I did and you don't have to make anymore. If you guys have products at home and you don't know what to do with it and you're buying things just to buy it, I want to know if that's you. Please leave your comments below. If you guys need help with those products, if you guys want to know what they do, if you guys want to see a tutorial on a product that maybe you have and you're unsure what to do with it, you hit your girl up. And with that being said, guys, I'm gonna end this video out with you guys. I had a blast making this look with you guys. I hope you guys were able to take something home with you. And if you like my video, please click the subscription below so you can get notified every time I'm uploading. Again, every Thursday and Saturday, your girl is uploading. I have been at one video this couple of weeks, but please believe it's just because I'm under construction with my body. So a lot of times I'm working out now, working and working out. I mean, it's just the double W's. So I'm doing all of that and I'm YouTubing. So it's one video, but I'm hoping to change that very soon. And again, you guys, I love you for watching. Till next time.